So I found this very disturbing story on Quora. A man was imprisoned for 28 years after a woman dreamed that he raped her. This is Clarence Moses L. So one day in 1988, poor old Clarence was just enjoying his daily routine when he was taken in by the police as a rape suspect. A hospitalized woman claimed she had been brutally raped by a black man. More than a day after the assault, while in the hospital, the woman identified Clarence as her attacker, saying his face came to her in a dream. Clarence Moses L. was convicted in 1988 and sentenced to 48 years in prison for raping and assaulting a woman when she returned home from a night of drinking despite no further evidence other than her bruises and her dream. Clarence had long claimed he was innocent, but his efforts to appeal his conviction were unsuccessful, in part because Denver police, that's Denver, Colorado, USA, threw away DNA evidence from the scene, according to reports. Luckily, in December 2013, while serving his 48-year prison sentence, Clarence received a letter from another man, L.C. Jackson. In the letter, Jackson said he couldn't believe Clarence had been accused of raping the same woman Jackson had sex with the very same night. I really don't know what to say to you, but let's start by bringing what was done in the dark into the light, Jackson wrote, according to court documents. I have a lot on my heart. This confession letter led to a court hearing in July where Jackson testified that he lost his temper during sex with the woman and hit her in the face. He admitted to it all, although it wasn't necessarily a rape. Clarence had already spent 28 years of his 48-year sentence in prison. Imagine that, an innocent man. 28 years he'll never get back because of a dream. Love, Zed. I have read and heard so many cases of miscarriage of justice, and I know it happens all over the world, but it seems like I've read about an exceptionally large number of miscarriages in justice occurring in the USA. And many of those miscarriages in justice involve innocent black people. There is definitely an element of racism in the justice system, especially in the US. And no, don't put words in my mouth, don't get it twisted. I'm not saying that every time a black person gets convicted of a criminal offense that they're being falsely accused and they're actually innocent. I'm not saying that at all. I do believe in most cases that more often than not, people that are convicted of criminal offenses are in fact guilty of those offenses they're being convicted of. But we can't ignore the fact that there's an alarmingly high number of cases where innocent people, a lot of them innocent black people, are wrongly convicted. So just because this woman had a dream, then that was enough for the police, because of the bruises that she had and because she had a dream, that was enough for them to convict this man of a rape he didn't even commit, rape and assault. And not to mention, the police threw out evidence Why the hell are you throwing out DNA evidence? I'm sorry. Something like DNA evidence should be kept in a data bank somewhere for a long, long time, just in case a trial like this ever makes it to court again. I guess they were so sure they had the right man. Or maybe in some cases, it could be a case that maybe the police in this particular case were just lazy and they didn't feel like doing any more work on this case. I don't know what it was, but we do know that an innocent man was wrongly convicted and spent 28 years in jail. 28 years he'll never get back. Well, I hope he successfully sues the justice system. That is absolute, total, utter bullshit. I mean, this is how some innocent people have ended up getting executed for crimes they didn't even commit. There is something terribly wrong with the U.S. justice system. I mean, I'm from Canada myself, and yes, we have had cases here in Canada where innocent people have been convicted of crimes that they did not commit. Like a few examples, people like David Milgaard, Robert Baltovich, I think was his name, and many other cases of people that were wrongly convicted. Innocent people are wrongly convicted. But it seems like there is an astounding number of innocent people that are wrongly convicted in the States. Like, what kind of a court system would convict a man, would convict a person under those circumstances? No, that is just completely wrong. And the amount of racism that occurs in some aspects of U.S. society is completely wrong. All I hope is that this innocent man, I hope he's able to successfully sue and win money for the 28 years of his life that he wasted in jail for a crime he didn't even commit. It's not like any amount of money will bring back lost time. But he deserves some form of compensation. And if it's found that there was any kind of perjury or any kind of wrongdoing committed by the police, by the judge, by jurors, if it was found that there was any kind of wrongdoing or dishonest activity committed by them that resulted in an innocent man being locked up for something he didn't do, then maybe they should be brought to justice as well too. If it's found that there is wrongdoing and misconduct on their part, maybe they should be brought to justice as well. I hear about this happening way too often, and this has got to stop. First of all, we need to start educating people from the time they're young children, from the time that young children are in daycare or preschool. They need to be educated right through preschool and day school, right through grade school, right up to middle school, right up to high school, and in college and university about how wrong it is to be racist and discriminate against people for things like skin color, race, gender, age, any kind of physical characteristics that they have or mental characteristics that they have no control over. Discrimination and racism is just wrong, and it needs to stop. And all I hope is that the wrongs in this particular case and every other case that where miscarriages of justice have occurred, I hope the wrongs in those cases end up being righted. This is so wrong on every level.